The sun had just dipped behind the jagged mountains, casting long, trembling shadows over the village of Nyakuri. Smoke from cooking fires curled into the crimson sky, carrying the scents of roasted yams and spicy stews. Children's laughter echoed through narrow mud paths, but an uneasy quiet lingered beyond the village edges, where the forest began. Elder Mfam, the oldest in Nyakuri, sat under the ancient baobab tree in the village square. His face, carved with years of wisdom, glowed in the flickering firelight. He spoke in a low voice, his words almost swallowed by the whispering wind. "The spirits are restless tonight. I hear a voice lost in the forest, calling." A hush fell over the gathered villagers. No one dared speak. Even the dogs at the village edge whimpered softly, sensing something unseen. Far inside the dense forest, where the sunlight barely touched the ground, a figure moved. Not a man, not an animal, but a being of shifting shadows. Its eyes glimmered like polished amber, and it hummed a melody that seemed older than time. Birds froze in their nests, and the leaves stilled as if holding their breath. No one in Nyakuri had seen the spirit before. Some said it was the ghost of an ancient hunter who had angered the gods. Others whispered that it was an ancestor lost to the world, wandering until it found a lesson to teach. Yet tonight, it came closer, its voice threading into the wind, reaching the ears of a young boy named Taye. Taye, small but curious, was different from the other children. While others played by the river, he wandered near the forest edge, drawn by stories of hidden magic. His heart pounded as he heard the soft calling. "Taye! Taye!" it seemed to say. He looked around. No one was near. Only the shadows danced, and the air smelled of wet earth and old leaves. He wanted to run, but something held him. The elder's words echoed in his mind. "The spirits are restless tonight." Taye stepped forward, barefoot, the cool grass tickling his toes. Each step into the forest felt heavier, yet exhilarating, as if the trees themselves were guiding him. Deeper and deeper he went, until the last flicker of firelight from the village disappeared. The forest canopy turned black, pierced only by glimmers of stars. Strange sounds surrounded him, the rustle of unseen creatures, the distant cry of a hyena, and a soft humming that made his skin tingle. Suddenly, a clearing appeared. Moonlight bathed it in silver, and at the center floated a figure, shimmering and translucent. Its form shifted like smoke, but its presence was undeniable. The lost African spirit. It was both terrifying and beautiful, with eyes that held the wisdom of centuries. Taye fell to his knees, awe and fear battling inside him. "Who are you?" he whispered. The spirit's voice came not from its lips, but from the air itself. "I am called Amani, once a protector, now lost. I wander until the village learns what it has forgotten." A sudden gust of wind swirled around Taye, carrying whispers of the past, songs of hunters, the laughter of children long gone, and the cries of ancestors. The forest seemed alive with memory, and Taye realized this was no ordinary spirit. It held knowledge, pain, and a secret meant to shake the village to its core. The spirit's eyes met his. "You, Taye, will see what the others cannot. But beware, for curiosity comes with a price." Taye's heartbeat thundered in his chest. He wanted to turn back, to run to the safety of the village. Yet a strange courage filled him. Something told him that the lesson this spirit carried could change everything he had ever known. And so, under the silver light of the moon, the lost African spirit waited, and Taye stepped closer, unaware that the journey he was about to begin would awaken secrets, stir ancient powers, and challenge everything the village of Nyakuri believed. The wind carried a warning, but Taye could not hear it over the drumbeat of destiny that had begun. The morning sun rose over Nyakuri, painting the village in warm gold, yet a chill lingered in the air. Birds chirped nervously, and even the river seemed quieter than usual. Word of Taye's night in the forest spread like wildfire, whispered from hut to hut. Children stared at him with wide eyes, and elders exchanged worried glances. Elder Mfam summoned Taye to the baobab tree. The old man's voice was grave. "You have seen something, child, something the village has not felt for generations." He placed a wrinkled hand on Taye's shoulder. "Tell me, what did you hear?" Taye recounted everything, the voice, the shimmering figure, the ancient melody. As he spoke, the wind seemed to respond, rustling the leaves in strange patterns. The elder shivered. Even the bravest hunters muttered prayers to the ancestors, for they had long feared the forest after sundown. But not everyone doubted Taye. His best friend, Asha, a spirited girl with sharp eyes and faster feet, leaned closer. "If he speaks the truth," she said, "then something is coming, and we cannot hide behind fear." That evening, the village drums sounded, an urgent, irregular rhythm that echoed across the savannah. The elders had sensed it. The forest was restless. Shadows stretched unnaturally along the mud walls of huts, and whispers seemed to slip into every ear. Windows rattled, and the smoke from fires twisted as if caught in invisible fingers. Taye felt a pull, stronger than before. The spirit, Amani, had not left him. At the forest edge, a faint glow shimmered between the trees, flickering like firelight. The boy approached, Asha at his side, her hand gripping his. "You shouldn't go," she warned. "Not alone." "We are not alone," Taye replied, pointing to the shadows that moved with them. "Amani waits, and I must know what it wants." The forest seemed alive. The scent of wet soil, rotting leaves, and sweet wildflowers mixed, dizzying them. A distant drumbeat echoed from nowhere, and Taye shivered. The spirit's voice hummed again, carrying a soft warning. The village forgets its path. Soon, their choices will awaken what they fear. Deeper inside the forest, the ground became uneven, roots twisting like serpents. Owls hooted, their cries hollow and knowing. Taye and Asha reached a stream where the water ran silver in the moonlight. Amani appeared, hovering above the ripples. Its form shimmered, now taller and more defined. "You see, Taye," the spirit spoke, "the village has lost balance. They take without giving, speak without listening, live without remembering the old ways. Soon, their neglect will bring sorrow." Asha gasped. What do you mean?" Amani's amber eyes glowed. "Tonight, a shadow will enter the village. A test. Only those who listen to the forest, the river, and the ancestors will survive its lesson. You, Taye, must guide them." The children returned to the village, but the tension did not ease. Doors creaked, dogs growled at empty spaces, and distant howls filled the night. Whispers spread. Huts were moving in the darkness, voices speaking in unknown tongues. Villagers began to fear not just the forest, but the very life of their village. By dawn, the crops by the riverbank had wilted mysteriously, and the smoke from cooking fires curled into strange spirals. Hunters reported sightings of animals behaving oddly. A lion prowled near huts but made no sound. Monkeys gathered in circles as if in council. Every sign pointed to the spirit's warning coming true. Elder Mfam gathered the villagers. "Listen to the children," he said, eyes settling on Taye and Asha. "They have walked where spirits dwell. The forest speaks, and if we do not heed it, the village may face a fate it cannot undo." Asha spoke next, her voice trembling but firm. "We must remember the old ways. Offer thanks, respect the land, and listen. The spirit has come to guide us, not harm us, if we choose wisely." That night, a heavy fog rolled in, wrapping the village in a pale, ghostly blanket. Lanterns flickered, and the drumbeat from the forest grew louder, echoing across the savannah like the heartbeat of something immense. Taye felt Amani near him again, its presence pressing against his mind like a song both beautiful and terrifying. From the shadows of the forest, eyes watched the village, unseen but aware. The lost African spirit had begun its test. Every villager would soon face a choice, one that could awaken ancient powers or bring ruin. Taye clenched his fists. Fear churned in his stomach, but so did determination. He could feel the weight of what was coming. Amani's lesson was beginning, and the boy realized that the line between courage and foolishness would be tested like never before. The wind whispered once more, "The village must remember. The shadow is near, and only the heart that listens will survive." The fog over Nyakuri lingered into the morning, thick and damp. Villagers moved cautiously, their eyes darting toward the forest and riverlands beyond. Taye and Asha had returned to the stream where they had first seen Amani, hoping for guidance. The spirit's form shimmered above the water, taller and more solid now, as if the mist had given it strength. "You must see," Amani whispered, its voice threading through the rush of water. "Look beyond what you touch, beyond what you fear." Taye knelt by the river, running his hands through the cool current. Something glimmered beneath the surface. Small stones, polished smooth, floated like sparks of light. Then he noticed shapes in the riverbed, carvings of animals, hunters, and spirits long forgotten. It was a story written in stone, telling of the village's ancestors, how they once lived in harmony with the forest and river, how they thanked the spirits, and how they taught respect to every creature and tree. Asha gasped. These carvings, the elders never told us. Amani hovered closer. You see the truth now. The village has forgotten. The balance is broken. The shadow I warned of, it comes from neglect, from forgetting the old ways. The children realized the carvings were more than art, they were warnings. Each symbol pulsed faintly in the moonlight, as if alive. Amani's amber eyes glowed with urgency. The lesson is not mine alone. You must carry it to the village. But first you must understand the shadow. The wind whispered secrets of the forest. Trees bent unnaturally, their branches forming shapes that hinted at movement. Spirits of the past, guardians of the land. Taye could almost hear the voice of his grandfather, a hunter long gone. Respect the forest, and it will protect you. Forget, and you invite chaos. The children returned to the village with these carvings. They showed them to the elders, whose faces went pale as they traced the symbols with trembling fingers. Elder Mfam spoke softly, almost to himself. The ancestors have sent us a message through these children. The shadow is a consequence of our forgetting. Only remembering can protect us. That evening, strange events began. Fish in the river leapt in patterns that mirrored the carvings. Fires in the village flickered, casting images of hunters and spirits on the mud walls. The villagers awoke in panic, sensing something unseen moving among them. Taye and Asha followed Amani to the forest once more. The spirit guided them to an ancient tree, gnarled and enormous. Its bark was carved with symbols similar to the riverbed. From its hollow, a dark mist seeped, curling like smoke. This is the shadow, Amani said, born of neglect, fed by fear and ignorance. It waits to teach the village a lesson they will never forget. But it is not yet too late. You must show them the old ways. Asha's eyes widened. How? How can we stop it? Amani's voice was both gentle and terrifying. By remembering. By honoring. By listening. Tonight, you will face your first test. The shadow will touch the village, and only those who act with understanding and courage will survive. As night fell, a hush settled over Nyakuri. The shadow rose from the ancient tree in the forest, coiling like a serpent of smoke, and slithered silently toward the village. Doors rattled, lanterns flickered, and children hid under mats while elders chanted prayers. Taye stood at the riverbank, holding the carvings. Asha placed her hand on his shoulder. We have the knowledge. We can guide them. The shadow paused at the edge of the village, sensing fear, doubt, and greed. It hesitated, drawn to those who had forgotten the old ways. Taye felt a surge of resolve. We must lead them, he whispered to Asha. If we fail, everyone suffers. Amani hovered behind him. Do not fear. You carry the wisdom of the ancestors. Teach it, and the village may yet survive. Ignore it, and the shadow will claim all. The night deepened, the drums of the forest echoed, and the shadow prepared to enter the village. Taye knew that the moment of reckoning had arrived, and nothing would be the same after this night. The shadow moved silently through Nyakuri. Windows rattled, and smoke from hearth fires twisted unnaturally. Villagers huddled in their huts, trembling. Some whispered prayers, others wept. The air was thick, as if the earth itself had grown heavy with fear. Taye and Asha ran from hut to hut, showing the carvings and urging everyone to remember the old ways. The ancestors sent these, Taye cried. The forest and river are alive. We must honor them. Many villagers hesitated. Fear had made them stubborn. It's just a shadow, one man muttered. A trick of the night. But others listened. The hunters, the weavers, and those who still carried the old knowledge. They gathered at the village square, chanting, drumming, and offering thanks to the spirits. Slowly, the wind changed. The shadow paused, recoiling from the songs, the prayers, the firelight. Yet the shadow was cunning. It whispered to the fearful, showing visions of loss and despair. Children alone in huts cried out, and the villagers saw frightening shapes dancing in the firelight. Panic threatened to undo everything. Taye realized that fear itself was feeding the shadow. He ran to the center of the square, holding the carvings high. "Do not listen to it," he shouted. "Remember who we are. Remember the ancestors. We honor the forest, the river, and each other." Asha joined him, raising her voice above the whispering winds. "Do not let fear rule you. Stand together. Protect each other." Elder Mfam stepped forward, voice steady despite trembling hands. "This shadow is our own forgetting, our neglect. Only by remembering the old ways can we survive. Light your fires, beat your drums, speak your prayers." The villagers, inspired by the children and elders, moved as one. Fires blazed, drums pounded like the heartbeat of the earth, and voices rose in a chorus of memory and respect. The shadow shrieked, twisting and writhing, but it could not break their unity. From the forest, Amani watched, its form luminous and proud. They began to remember. Soon, the balance will return. But the shadow tests not only fear, it tests hearts. The shadow struck harder, targeting those who still doubted. A hunter who ignored the calls of the ancestors fell, trapped in illusions of loss and failure. Only when Asha reached him and reminded him of the river's teachings did he awaken. The village trembled, hearts racing, yet a new courage emerged. Children who had hidden ran to join the fires. Women sang songs of harvest and gratitude. Hunters left their weapons aside, offering thanks to the forest. Slowly, the shadow began to thin, losing strength as remembrance and honor filled the square. By dawn, Nyakuri was transformed. The shadow shrank to a wisp, vanishing back into the forest. The fog lifted. The village, once fearful and divided, stood united, awakened to the wisdom of the ancestors. Taye and Asha, exhausted, looked toward the forest. Amani appeared one last time, radiant. The village has learned its first lesson. But the journey is not over. Only continued respect and remembrance will keep the shadow at bay. The wind carried a promise. The spirit's guidance would remain, and Nyakuri would never again take lightly the harmony between humans and the unseen forces of the world. The village celebrated cautiously. Fires burned brighter, children laughed with relief, and hunters prepared offerings for the river and forest. Yet Taye knew the shadow's test was not finished. He felt its remnants lingering near the mountains, waiting for doubt to return. Amani appeared beside him at the river. "The hardest test comes not from fear, but from the heart. You and the village must show courage beyond survival, courage to change, to respect, to teach." Taye looked toward Asha. "We cannot stop here. We must lead them, not just protect them." They organized the villagers. Songs of the ancestors were taught to children. Hunters and elders shared stories of the old ways. Every hut, every path, every riverbank became a living reminder of balance and respect. At night, the shadow returned in whispers, seeking those who faltered. But now, the villagers were ready. They faced it with memory, courage, and unity. The wind carried their voices like a shield. The shadow struck, but could not penetrate their resolve. Amani glowed brightly. "You are learning. True courage is not the absence of fear, but the choice to act with wisdom and heart. Only then can the lost spirit guide the village." In the forest, Taye and Asha watched as animals returned to their normal paths. Lions roamed safely, monkeys chattered joyfully, and the river ran clear and silver. The land itself seemed to sigh in relief. For the first time, Taye understood the full weight of the lesson. Respect and courage were intertwined. Fear fed chaos, wisdom fed life. The shadow was gone, not destroyed, but tamed by hearts that remembered. The morning after the shadow's defeat, Nyakuri awoke to golden sunlight. The village was alive with gratitude. Children ran barefoot across the savannah, elders smiled, and hunters prepared offerings to the river and forest. Amani appeared one last time, luminous and serene. The village has learned what is most important: memory, respect, and courage. Forget these, and the shadow will return. Elder Mfam addressed the villagers under the baobab tree. The spirits are not our enemies. They are teachers. The lost African spirit has shown us what we ignored. Let this lesson remain in our hearts forever. Taye stepped forward. We must remember the old ways, not just today, but every day. Listen to the forest, care for the river, honor the ancestors. Only then can we live in harmony. Asha added, courage is not just fighting monsters. It is choosing respect, remembering who we are, and protecting each other. The villagers nodded, understanding the depth of the lesson. Fires burned brighter, drums echoed the heartbeat of the earth, and the wind carried songs of gratitude through the mountains, riverlands, and forests. Amani smiled. I am no longer lost. The village has remembered. My lesson is complete. With a soft shimmer, the spirit faded into the morning light, leaving peace and harmony in its wake. Nyakuri would never forget. The children who once played by the river became guardians of the land. Hunters, elders, and weavers shared stories with each new generation. The village had learned that neglect invites shadows, but memory, respect, and courage summon light. And so, the lost African spirit became a story told around fires for generations, a tale of mystery, fear, courage, and the eternal lesson. Those who remember and honor the past create a future free from shadows. The wind whispered through the trees, carrying the moral far and wide. Respect life, honor the ancestors, and let courage guide your heart. Only then will harmony prevail.